Good afternoon. Welcome back to iPulse Live. This is our broadcast for February 14th, 2025. I'm Delaney Smith.
And I'm Lilian Carreon.
It is 7 years today since the Marjory Stoneman Douglas high school shooting in Parkland, Florida. A teenage gunman killed 17 people that Valentine's Day in 2018, one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history.
Tony Montalto lost his 14-year-old daughter, Gina Rose. He and other parents are with StandWithParkland.org have been fighting to improve school safety ever since that tragic day. The Marjory Stoneman High School Public Safety Act is one result of their efforts. Reporter Devin Draveldes talked with Mr. Montalto about the ongoing work.
The Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Act was very important. It was the first piece of school safety legislation that was passed here in Florida. Just 3 short weeks after the murder of my beautiful daughter, Gina, her schoolmates and her teachers. Important to remember is that it was a compromise bill, and it was passed with bipartisan voting through the Florida House and the Florida Senate. And then it was signed into law by Governor Rick Scott. Stand with Parkland's members were up there that day as he signed that important legislation. As we know, that bill covers the school safety triad, which Stand with Parkland uses. It provides dollars and requirements to secure the campus. It increased funding for mental health professionals in our state schools. And additionally, it passed firearms regulations, raising the age to purchase up to 21, mandating a 3-day waiting period, as well as instituting in extreme risk protection orders or red flag laws. Those are used in case someone is found to be a threat to themselves or others. The firearms are removed from them for up to a year. That law, that portion of the law, has been used over 15,000 times in the last 7 years. With a number that large, I'm sure we saved lives along the way.
And then what are some vital safety measures that you believe still need to be addressed by Florida lawmakers this year, as well as Congress?
Well, I'll start with Florida because 2 different things a little bit. Here in Florida, we've passed 7 school safety laws in the wake of the Stoneman Douglas tragedy. We've created a requirement for a district-wide mental health coordinator. We've created the Office of Safe Schools. So continuing along that process of what we've done, this year, we would like to see a requirement for all school doors to be ballistic resistant in new buildings. We think that it's important that as our new buildings come online, we build them to protect students from the threats of the 21st century. Nobody's died in a school fire since the 1950s, but we still put in a ton of fire safety equipment into our buildings. So we just need to do that with our current new buildings that we're building. And then we're hopeful to come up with a grant program, one of which we're working through Congressman Fitzpatrick and Congressman Moskowitz in DC, to institute a bill that requires that in all schools federally. And it would also create a pool of money on which the states could draw to retrofit their schools. It's time to use the technology to protect our students and teachers at school.
Yes.
Additionally, federally, we have a new bill about to be reintroduced, or actually it's called the MSD Act, and it has that door portion that we just talked about. And additionally, it has something we've done here in Florida, which is the Parents Need to Know initiative, where now schools are required to notify parents of threats to the school, to school transportation or school-sponsored events. Sadly, that was not the case prior to the Marjory Stoneman Douglas shooting. Here in Florida, it's been law since 2021, and we're hoping to see that put in federally as well.
Yes. Once again, there is a move in the Florida legislature to roll back one of the major reforms, the one that bars anyone from under the age of 21 from purchasing a long gun. What is your reaction to this?
As I told the Florida House committee that I testified in last year, Florida got it right following the Parkland tragedy. The changes we made to our firearms laws have kept our students and our teachers safe. as I mentioned, the red flag laws, which are used in all over the state. They're used in our most Republican counties and our most Democratic counties because they protect students, teachers, citizens, and law enforcement. These are vitally important tools that we have. So I think that the raising the age to 18 is something that should remain raising the age to 21 is something that should remain in place. I'm up in Tallahassee frequently the last 7 years, and I have yet to see the crowd of 18-year-olds demanding their rights to own a weapon. Additionally, one of the changes in the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act that was put in is federally now in states that do have the ability for an 18 to 21-year-old to purchase a weapon, there is an enhanced background check procedure. When I was last in Washington, D.C. at the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, they mentioned that over 1,000 purchases have been stopped because of these enhanced background checks, where we don't treat an 18-year-old as if they just appeared on the world that day, where we go back and investigate their school records, their mental health records. And I think everything we can do to curtail firearms falling into the hands of the wrong people is very important.
Yes. So then, what final thoughts do you share this day in memory of your daughter, Gina Rose, her classmates, her teachers, all of whom have inspired you guys to tirelessly push to make our schools safer?
Well, the families of Stand with Parkland are, we came together under the worst of circumstances, but every time we make a policy change in the positive direction, every time we were able to change a law, when we were able to build the Federal Clearinghouse for School Safety Practices, access through schoolsafety.gov. All of these things extend Gina's legacy, the legacy of the other students and the teachers that were taken that day, as we all bring people together to work towards safer schools. We frequently say this is not a partisan issue. We need to come together on this. We were able to work with the Trump administration, number one. We worked with the Biden administration, and now we're planning to go up to DC and continue working with President Trump once again as we continue to drive pragmatic safety improvements to our schools. And we invite everybody to join us at standwithparkland.org.
Our hearts are heavy thinking about the victims, their families, and everyone affected by this tragedy. For those who were there, the memories of that day never fade. Today we hear from someone who covered the tragedy, longtime South Florida reporter and anchorman for WPTV in West Palm, Michael Williams, sits down with my colleague Lillian Carrion to talk about that day.
Hello, Mr. Williams. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. Today, actually, for me, it's a pleasure. I want to welcome you, first of all, to iPulse.
Thank you.
And to commemorate the Parkland shooting high school.
7 years ago today, Valentine's Day 2018.
A really hard date to commemorate, and for that, if you're okay with that, I would like to ask you some questions.
Sure.
First of all, how did you hear that there had been a shooting at Parkland?
I remember vividly that day. I was getting ready to go to work, but I was actually finishing up an errand, and I just happened to call a friend of mine in Miami television news, and we were chatting about something completely unrelated, and suddenly he said to me, "Michael, I need to go. There's a report of an active shooting in Parkland at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas." I still get chills to this day thinking about that. He hung up the phone. I called my wife, who at that point was a producer at Channel 7 in Miami, asked if they were hearing anything. Choppers were starting to get over the scene. It quickly became apparent that something major had happened. I called my station in West Palm Beach, said I'm rushing straight to the scene. And as I was going up the turnpike, one police vehicle after another, I lost count of federal, state, and local vehicles flying up the Florida Turnpike to Parkland. I got on the scene, and it was pandemonium, pure terror for people. Children, students walking with their parents who'd come to campus and could find them in tears, not knowing what had happened. Some of them talking to me about what they'd seen, and it was awful. And at that early point, we weren't sure if the shooter was in custody. We would then find that out. It was one of those days of absolute terror and heartbreak doesn't begin to describe it. As a reporter, you're charged and are trying to do your best to get accurate information to your viewer. And information is flying, so are rumors. You're trying to make sure that everything you do is vetted to the highest degree. We were on live, as was every television station in South Florida throughout that afternoon. And part of you, as you're gathering information, double sourcing it, speaking to people, speaking to students, speaking to parents who wanted to speak to us, part of you, I remember vividly hoping that as we knew the toll was going up and up, you're praying, please don't let it go any higher. And then I remember finding out, and we confirmed that 17 people had died. And for the families who'd lost loved ones, and some of them weren't sure what had happened to their loved ones, for the survivors, for the community, that school community, the larger community, the state, and really the nation. It's one of those moments that is so awful, and all you can do as a reporter, but much more importantly as a community, is try to come together in support of those who've lost so much, in support of those who survived and have to endure, and try to tell the story with as much empathy and accuracy, because the story was developing and breaking around us, as you possibly can.
Thank you, Michael, for sharing your experience. We turn to other news now. Recent plane crashes have raised concerns about air travel safety and the causes of those accidents.
We asked a student from Lynn's aviation program what he thought about airline safety. What does this mean for the future of aspiring pilots? Our reporter, Carly Hochberg, has the story.
In the past few weeks, multiple plane casualties around the world have heightened concerns about aircraft safety and aviation regulations. While investigators work to determine the causes, aviation students at Lynn University who dream of becoming pilots are now facing a new wave of uncertainty.
Both accidents being so close to each other are very, very strange, I could say. It's odd that those two kind of just happened out of nowhere.
Shortly after taking office, President Trump revoked FAA hiring policies focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion, advocating for merit-based practices. He also dismissed the heads of TSA and disbanded the Aviation Security Advisory Committee. Critics claim these actions could destabilize the aviation sector, jeopardizing safety and affecting morale among aviation professionals.
Right now, the president is putting his hand in things that shouldn't be messed with. We've had a good system. As an aviation major, I think the field is very safe, and it gets safer every single day. In light of these new events, it's definitely going to change a little bit more. I actually feel more comfortable because there's going to be new regulations, there's going to be new laws. The things that happened, though, they were simply just accidents. Yes, they could have been avoided, but there were accidents. Accidents do happen, sadly. And we'll all just learn from it.
Carly Hochberg, iPulse News.
Governor Ron DeSantis signed immigration bills into law, part of a new crackdown in Florida against illegal immigration.
One key provision: illegal immigrants convicted of capital crimes, including the rape of a child or first-degree murder, would face mandatory death punishment. Opponents of the new laws are already signaling legal challenges are ahead.
And now a check-in on the weather with Noah.
Hello everybody, my name is Noah Barkley, and the weather this week, if anything, it's looking inconsistent. Starting right here, this is the current radar image we have over the lake right now. Down near Boca Raton, it's clear, it's sunny, but when you go a little bit more north, it is going to start to get a little wet. There is a little bit of rain up there, and the reason that is because it's right over the lake coming off of the Gulf. So you'll get that a little bit if you're going up north, but down here you should be fine for the rest of the day, but later in the week that's going to change. And as you'll see right here on the next radar image, a little bit more HD. It is more spotty than it shows on the other radar. a little bit clumped together, but right here you'll see spottier across the northern counties. As you come down near Palm Beach and you come down again toward Boca Raton, you're not going to really get any of that. So you can expect right now and for the next few days, clear skies. But as you'll see right now on the 7-day forecast, it is going to start getting a little rainy, especially Thursday. That's when it really kicks in. Wednesday night, the clouds are also going to start to come in. Really, as I mentioned, the inconsistency. It's going to start off sunny here today on Friday. Saturday, Sunday, it's also going to be a little nice, a little bit of clouds on Sunday. But starting Monday, that's when it doesn't really get muggy, but it does start to get cloudy and more gray. And that's when you'll see going into Tuesday, it'll get like that as well. It'll cool down a little bit as the week goes on. And then really Wednesday night, going into Thursday, you are going to start to get that rain. But for the next few days right now, you are safe from that mugginess. So it is a little nice out. But right now, you can expect sun, but later on, expect some rain. I'm Noah Barclay. Thank you very much. Back to you guys.
This Valentine's Day, the Couch Potatoes podcast decided to do a special just for you. In this week's episode, Guilherme and Lisette discussed their favorite romance movies. Guilherme's pick was When Harry Met Sally, and Lisette's was The Sound of Music. Let's have a listen.
My favorite, or at least one of my favorite romance movies, very hard to pick, would be When Harry Met Sally, and it stars Meg Ryan as Sally and Billy Crystal as Harry. And the movie, well, the plot is pretty much, it's about the unlikely friendship between these two people, and we kind of see them throughout the years, like, you know, their trials and tribulations together and when they're not together.
I really, really like the fact that it really touches on the subject that it's possible to find true love in your mid-30s or early 30s, and I think that's kind of like an assurance to people out there.
Yeah, I love that you got that out of there, because it's not just about necessarily one couple or like one specific, you know, perfect story. And this is far from a perfect love story. These people, you know, you see them first, they become friends. They fight, like they have a lot of disagreements, but I think that's just what love is.
And I love the ending when he's like at the New Year's Eve party with Sally, and he's like, well, you know what? I like that you're picky about that you can't order your food right away. Love isn't blind. And and I hate people that say love is blind. Like, no, love is like you accept people's flaws and you acknowledge them and you say, you know what? That's okay because I have them too. My Valentine's Day pick is a musical, and probably some of you are rolling your eyes right now, but it is, drum roll, The Sound of Music. It is a film that came out in 1965, stars Christopher Plummer as Captain Von Trapp and Julie Andrews as Sister Maria. She's a nun, and it's just so cute, and Christopher Plummer is just amazing. I'm in love with him.
There's a very charming quality to this movie.
Christopher Plummer?
Yes. I mean, very well dressed, very well behaved man.
You know, at the beginning, Captain Von Trapp, he's kind of like in a bad mood all the time. Like, no singing in the house. No singing. And he's kind of like just this military figure. But then, obviously, because it's called The Sound of Music, he hears his children sing again for the first time. And he's just kind of like, oh. And I just love it because you can really see the connection he has with the kids.
Christopher Plummer in this movie really loves his home of Austria. I think this movie overall talks about love of your home, love of your family, obviously love of, you know, your partner. We are wishing happy Valentine's Day to everyone out there, even people, you know, if you don't have a Valentine, it's okay, man. We will see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.
In sports news, the Lynn University track team's impressive performance last season, breaking 15 school records and sending the first athletes in program history to nationals, has set high expectations for the upcoming season. Reporter Davin Jabelbis talked to the Lynn track coaches to gain insight into what's ahead.
The Lynn University track team has been a competitive sporting team at Lynn since the 2017-2018 season in which it began. Over the past 2 seasons, the Knights' success on the track has taken off. The Knights had an extremely successful year last year where they rewrote the history books, breaking over 15 school records throughout the track season. I was able to sit down with the Lynn track coaches to talk about their success last year and their outlook on this new upcoming season.
The addition of the new ladies that we brought in and a few guys, I'd say the men I know broke about 10 records last year. The women broke 5. So I'm thinking this year we're going to rewrite the whole history book again.
Last year, the Knights had 2 individuals qualify for the Division II NCAA National Championship, marking the first athletes in program history to qualify for nationals.
As our goal, when we first started the season, one of the goals we said was one person got to make it to nationals. That was it. And for 3 to be close and then 2 making it, it was a huge accomplishment. And that truly opened the door to the athletes that are on the team now.
Go! Paul Mosley excelled at these championships, bringing home a second-team All-American placement in the 200-meter dash. These athletes have brought their high-level experiences back to Lynn and have helped to push their teammates throughout the training for this season.
Having that experience going to nationals helps me tell them what it takes to get to that level, all the trials, tribulations, all the problems that you're going to go through, everything.
This year is not only going to be a remarkable year for the Knights because of their talent, but it is also the inaugural year for the Sunshine State Conference Track Championship. The Sunshine State Conference hosts championships for 21 sports now, after they announced the addition of outdoor track and beach volleyball last spring. This opens the door for the Lynn track team to win the first ever conference championship and set these championship records.
We've only had cross-country conference, so we're really excited to get on the track and show what we can do. Because last year we were really dominant in most of the events, so we're really excited to see how we can show it in the track this year.
So we're excited to take over the conference and win it, guys and girls side. I don't think that we should even get lower than first place.
Between the addition of the new conference championship and the extreme talent the team holds, the Fighting Knights have high expectations for this year.
I truly think we can have 9 athletes at nationals this year. So it's up to us to put the work together, put the schedule together, how we're going to get there. But looking at the team we have now and what we can accomplish, I truly think we can get 9 athletes to nationals to represent the college.
The track team will kick off their season next Saturday at the University of Tampa, competing against multiple Sunshine State Conference competitors. My name is Davin Drabelbis, reporting for iPulse Live.
What's up, boys? Come on.
With the Super Bowl wrapping up this past Sunday, reporter Noah Barclay is here with a quick recap of the game's biggest moments and headlines. From standout plays to unforgettable highlights, let's go check it out.
An electrifying Super Bowl matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs took place as a rematch in Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. Early on, Jahan Dotson caught a would-be touchdown. However, his knee was down at about the 1.5-yard line. But it didn't matter because the Eagles did the tush-push, a classic play for them, and pushed Jalen Hurts into the end zone to give them a 7-0 lead. Now, 10-0, Cooper DeJean catches an interception and runs it back for a pick 6. This extended the Philadelphia lead to 16, and later on they tacked on the extra point to make it 17. Later on, Patrick Mahomes threw another interception, this time to linebacker Zach Bond. This is caught in the red zone and immediately gave the Philadelphia Eagles a scoring chance. That scoring chance came to fruition when A.J. Brown broke open, caught a pass, and ran into the end zone to extend the Philadelphia lead. With 1 minute and 35 seconds left in the second half, Kansas City has 0 points. Going into the third quarter, Patrick Mahomes' offensive line was getting battered and battered again, with constant sacks, with back-to-back sacks. He cannot move out of the pocket, and it was clearly affecting his game, as at this time he had 41 yards for 2 interceptions. And to add on to the pain of Kansas City Chiefs fans and the team, an absolute rocket of a throw from Jalen Hurts is thrown to Devontae Smith for a long touchdown. Kansas City eventually added on 6 points to the board. However, he continued to take a beating, getting sacked multiple times, and on this time, losing a fumble on the sack, pretty much securing the Philadelphia win. Once it hit this crazy score, the Gatorade came out, and Nick Sirianni took it all in. The game ended, and as time ticked down, the final score ended up being 40-22 Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts ended up winning Super Bowl MVP, a coveted award that goes to the best player of the game, one of the most important awards you can win in football.
You knew playing a hell of a game, my friend. All right, there it is, folks. Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl 59.
I'm Noah Barclay for iPulse News.
Let's go down to Tom Rinaldi. He's got Nick Sirianni.
Delaney, you're from Philly. I'm sure you're excited about the outcome of the game.
Yes, I am still jumping for joy seeing the results of the game. In fact, the Eagles parade is today in the city. Thousands of fans are coming together to celebrate the Eagles' victory. I'm a Philly girl, I just gotta say it, fly Eagles fly.
Some people are jumping for joy for a different reason. TikTok's back, at least for now, and we went out and about on the Lynn campus today where we saw students checking in on TikTok. It's back on the Apple App Store and Google Play. This is after an executive order by President Trump delayed the ban of the social media app, pending more legal reviews.
I was so happy. I downloaded that last night, and it was the best feeling ever. I use it for cooking and just keeping track of my friends from home because they always are posting on it.
The app isn't 100% important to me. I mean, I will scroll on it when I'm bored, when I have downtime. I didn't delete it when it first went back, but I did hear that a lot of people deleted it and they couldn't get it back. I think that it's kind of the same security issues as with any other social media, in my opinion, just because it's all in the cloud, so all of your information's out there. So I didn't really understand that, but I guess it being back, they didn't seem it was that big of a deal.
The catwalk is calling. The countdown begins as student and faculty put the final touches on the runway for next week's highly anticipated Lynn Fashion Showcase. Let's take a look at reporter Allison Wallace as she takes us backstage for an exclusive sneak peek.
The countdown begins with just one more week until the Lynn Fashion Showcase. Students and faculty members are joining forces to create this incredible runway. Let's go check out what's been done so far and the designs that have been made. I spoke to Lynn's student Heidi Schultz about her part in this runway.
Currently drawing some of the local plants and flowers, butterflies of Boca Raton, and the theme was for Boca Raton's 100th anniversary, so I was like, yeah, let's just do some local stuff.
That's incredible. It matches the theme too. How long have you been working on this so far?
About an hour, because me and my class came here to start working on it as a little side thing, and class started at 12 and it's about 1, so yeah, about an hour, and I'm hoping to be done with the sketch in another 30 minutes and then hopefully start just actually painting it.
I also spoke to Dave Baer, professor at Lynn, who brought out his class to help make this runway a reality. You're currently here with your class working on the runway. How is it going so far?
It's going pretty good. They're having a good time drawing, filling in all the positive and negative space with their artwork.
Yeah, it looks really good so far. Are you working on anything yourself on the runway?
I basically did the entire painting on the runway. All the black stuff that you see on it was all me with a big roller brush.
How long have you guys been working on this runway so far, and when do you think it'll be done?
I know they've been putting it together for a couple days, probably since Sunday. We started the painting yesterday, and that took all of maybe 3 hours for me to do. Finished up a little bit today with this piece here, and then now the students are doing their job. So hopefully, because of all the holidays this weekend, we'll be done by Tuesday.
Yeah, that sure is going to take a long time, but all the effort will be worth it in the end. For some of these designs, what would you say inspired some of them? I know a lot of students have been working on them.
As far as the students are concerned, well, the theme is the centennial of Boca Raton. So when you go around, you'll see little rats and little mice or something there. Beach scenes, a lot of quotes for Boca Raton and whatnot. But basically, they can do whatever they want to do.
This year's fashion show is really going to be amazing. Thanks to all your work and your students. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun. Thanks for having us.
I hope you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look for next week's big event. I'm Allison Wallace reporting for iPulse Live.
The catwalk looks incredible. Everything is really coming together. In fact, you can join us there at the show next week as I take the stage as MC while Allison and Lillian provide coverage.
I'm really excited to see the fashion show come to life. Back to the topic of Valentine's Day. Earlier today, my co-anchor and I got the chance of doing something really fun. Tune into our Valentine's Day Out Loud with Lilian Carreon podcast on Spotify. And here's the taste.
Welcome back to that day of the week. It's time to live life out loud.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Out Loud Podcast. My name is Lilian Carreon. Today we have a special edition, and I'm not by myself here in the studio. I'm with Delaney. Delaney, welcome. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited because today we have a Valentine's Day edition.
I'm so excited. I wore my red just for this.
Yes? Okay, perfect. And we're having, well, I'm not wearing anything red or pink, but I mean, I think I'm going on theme with the color right here. Today we're going to talk about love.
Love.
Love, and friendships, but more love. I feel like there's so many ways to take on the date, and people that love it, people that hate it. I don't know. I love it. What about you? Do you like Valentine's Day?
You know, growing up, my dad was always so cute, and he would always like bring home some chocolate or something for me and my mom. Yeah, but I've never had a true Valentine, like a significant other Valentine. I know. So, you know, the infamous Galentines I've always done with my friends. And just, I think overall it's just a day for love and a little stranger, be like, have some coffee and what's your story, you know?
Exactly. And you never know with who you can connect. Like for me, it's like so interesting to see like the journey that everyone can take on. Like anywhere you can meet someone like your other half or the love of your life, or like maybe someone that will like mark a really interesting or important stage of your life and also like help you grow. I don't know. Flowers or chocolates?
Ooh, that's
or candy,
a tough
like
one.
anything like.
That's a tough one because I do love my chocolate, but flowers I feel like is a Valentine's Day staple.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a little cliche, I will say, the whole flower thing. And I wasn't about it until I started receiving flowers from like boys that I would go on dates with or coworkers when it was my birthday. So,
oh, wow.
Then I realized I did like getting flowers. So I would go with flowers for sure.
So you're saying prefer flowers rather than chocolates. And if we go like more into deep, because I know you like reading. Actually, you know, guys, she gave me a book to read. Of course, like I'm reading it right now. Actually, it's so good. But I wanted to ask you if you get to pick, because like everyone I feel like has a little bit of romance in their hearts. So favorite movie or book of romance?
Oh, I love the movie Serendipity. Notebook. Obviously, the chick flicks are really good.
What's the name of the other one? I forgot. Pride and Prejudice. I love. It's really long, but I love it. Have you watched it?
No, I
Oh
haven't.
my God. I read the book because I had to in high school, and then I fell in love with it. And then I watched the movie. It's so great
The way
too.
I'm attracted to someone, I'm such a personality girl. Like, you need to be goofy, silly. Like, if I vibe with you, it doesn't matter what you look like.
Yeah.
If I vibe with you, like, I will have a crush on you or like you, want to get to know you.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't believe in love at first sight. I don't think you can, because love is so much deeper than that. Love is so much deeper than looking at someone and being like,
You are the guy.
You're the one.
Routine that you have towards love. Like you're saying,
Yes.
we're saying it's unconditional and it has to be present and every day. So thank you so much, Delaney.
Thanks for having me. That was so sweet.
Amazing to have you here. So you guys, you know, every Friday, Spotify, you can tune in to any episode and just click play. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Te amo.
Te amo. Te amo mucho.
On this Valentine's Day, one of joy, love, and celebration for so many of us, we again remember those who had their loved ones taken from them 7 years ago in Parkland. We are reminded too of their courage to this day, fighting to make schools safer for all our children. Lilian Carreon continues her conversation with WPTV anchor Michael Williams, who was there that day of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas shooting.
Why you think there were so many people touched by this specific morning?
Well, I have children. I now have a grandson. It's a story that touches us all because it could be our children, it could be our grandchildren, it could be our friend's school. It could be anybody. And sadly, too many cases, it has been the school where you never thought it could happen. Sandy Hook, the beginning in Columbine back in the 1990s. The list goes on and on and on and on. And you say that could have been my child. That could have been security that wasn't there for my children. And how do we wrap our arms around that? How do we wrap our arms around that community? And as journalists, how do we begin that job of finding answers to what happened, why it happened, to listening to voices and to seeking out voices who say we're going to do everything we can to try to make sure that it doesn't happen again. There was immediately a groundswell. Think of these parents who lost so much, unspeakable loss. And to this day, I still talk with parents. I'm thinking of Tony Montalto. He lost his 14-year-old daughter, Gina Rose, and found the strength and finds the strength to this day to be in the vanguard of a movement to fight for legislative change. In 2018, these parents who'd lost everything could have crawled in a hole. Instead, they said, we're going to fight so that maybe this never has to happen again. And they went to Tallahassee and they changed laws. Schools K through 12 are safer in Florida today directly because of the ongoing work of parents who lost everything and continue to give back to make sure our schools can be safer. The Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School Safety Act has been groundbreaking. It's changed laws in Florida. It's helped change laws around the country. The work goes on today. And as journalists, it was very important for us to be part of documenting that story from then to now and beyond.
How immediately did you go live?
As soon as I arrived on the scene, I jumped out of the car. You're trying to get a sense of what's going on. I think I was there probably about an hour, maybe a bit more after it happened. And we knew there'd been an active shooter. We knew that there were casualties. We didn't know how many. Literally had parents and children, in some cases, asking us what's going on. In some cases, you're trying to offer comfort to people. You're a reporter, but first you're a human being. You're shocked, they're shocked. We're all trying to comfort one another. They're asking what we know. We're asking as gently as we can, what can they tell us? I remember a student telling me that he'd seen some horrible things. And you're trying to put that together. You're trying to make sure that with your police sources that you're telling the story as it unfolds in as thoughtful a manner as you can, absolutely in as accurate a manner as you can. And it's pandemonium though. And you have to be mindful of that, mindful as a reporter that information can change by the moment and was, and mindful, not that it took much to remind me of it, but everywhere you looked reminded that the human loss here is something that we have to be extraordinarily sensitive to, extraordinarily supportive of those people, and frankly, after all of that, as journalists, extraordinarily demanding of answers about how do we try to make sure that we make our children and our grandchildren safer moving forward.
I agree. One last question. Why do you think there's a tendency of a lot of school shootings here in America?
Well, again, as a journalist, and you'll hear me say this as I work with students here, that would be me editorializing, and that's not my place to do that. Yeah. I would say that the debate goes on all sides about what we need to do in terms of identifying people who are violent. Florida now has red flag laws where you can take away a gun from somebody for a period of time, court ordered. You can ask for the gun to be taken away if they're exhibiting signs of violence or have something that they're doing or in a record that would indicate the need for that. Red flag laws are not in place everywhere. I'm giving you a very generic view of that. Some people say those red flag laws work, some don't. Some say we need to make sure that we outlaw all guns in America. Many others say we do not. Many say we're safer if we're armed even more. I'm a reporter. It's my job to listen to what people are saying on all sides of a very contentious issue, and not in any way mitigating the horrible loss, the ability to come around and support people. But as a reporter, to take the question you asked and find those answers and listen to those voices across the spectrum, and then have confidence that in presenting that information, that people at home will come to their judgments about why and what we should, can, and are doing about it. Ultimately, that's my job as a reporter.
I don't know what to say. This moves me a lot, but just like to say thank you so much for sharing this, for sharing your story, and for being here, and to commemorate this
this day?
Well, certainly the story is about those who lost their lives and are remembered for the rest of their lives by their loved ones. The story is about the courage of the people, the teachers who tried to intervene to save their students, about a Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School student body and teachers and supporters who came together then and now. It's an enormously strong community. The story's about a wider community in the state and the country coming together to seek the kind of answers, to have the kind of debates that you've outlined in your question, but to ultimately say we're here to support those people. And as human beings first,
exactly.
It's important for us to never forget and to always be there to hear their stories, which are an important part of what we do and how we move forward.
To change and to help and support. Thank you so much, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in today on February 14, 2025. I'm Lilian Carreon.
And I'm Delaney Smith. We'll be back in 2 weeks from today. If you want to follow us, you can find us on iPulseNews.com or on Apple News. Have a great weekend.